Hey guys, welcome back to Root Troop Adventures. If this is your first time here with us, welcome. My name is Stacy, also known as the Root Troop Mama. And if you have been here with us before, thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate you viewers and we appreciate all of our subscribers. And I hope your year has gotten off to a great start. Today's video is going to be all about homeschool curriculum. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. It's one of my favorite things to watch other people talk about. If you saw our video a couple weeks ago we put out, was all about our partnership with Generations Homeschool Curriculum, and that we were getting their 6th grade level complete package sent to us to do a review of. And I did an unboxing to kind of show you the general parts of it, about the literature and the Bible and the science and the read alouds, kind of everything that was included. But I also wanted to break down each subject after we had had a chance to dive in and use it for a few weeks and let you know what we thought kind of like part of the way through. And then also once we complete it, come back and do another wrap-up video that tells you what we thought overall. So today we are going to get started with their 6th grade science curriculum. This is what comes in their level 6, their grade 6, if you order the total package. Now, of course, you could order this separately if you only wanted science also. But when you order it as part of the curriculum package, you get God Made Life. It's a textbook, and then you get the workbook that goes along with it. Okay, so I actually want to start with looking at parts of the workbook to give you an idea of how it is laid out before we actually jump into the material of the book. Because right inside here, they're going to give you a schedule of how they lay out their weeks. And then I'm going to tell you how we actually use it ourselves. So for week 1, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, they break up the chapters of reading, like 4 or 5 pages each of those days. On Tuesday and Thursday, there are no assignments. Then the following week, you actually start the worksheets in the workbook that go along with it. And so Monday is vocabulary, Tuesday is nothing. Wednesday are comprehension questions, Thursday is nothing. Friday, you would complete the faith lessons. Then the following week, so this is 3 weeks for chapter 1, you would complete the worksheet for a hands-on project. And then on then on Wednesday of that week, you would actually do these hands-on activities that they give you back here. So it is very easy to pace. It is not daunting and too much, but that's pretty much 3 weeks to cover 1 chapter. And that seems to be the general layout of how it continues throughout. Okay, so now that we know the schedule that they have laid out, I'm just going to kind of flip through a little bit and let you see what their first chapter looks like. Because I think when you talk about, okay, we're going to break down chapter 3 reading over the course of 3 days, and then we're going to answer some questions over the course of 3 days, and then we're going to do 2 days of observation the next week. I think it's important to know, like, how much material are we really covering in that time? And is the way that it's broken down really useful? Now, you can see from the very beginning, we're going to highlight scientists and doctors and researchers as we go through here, as well as photos that go along, paintings that go along with the material that we are reading. And that brings us to the end of the first chapter. So you can see, just because the size of the book is like a little smaller, it's easy to travel, but it's also, there's, several pages that you cover there, but it's not a daunting amount of reading, in my opinion. One of the things that was really important to me with our science is that it had a God-centered worldview. That's kind of the difference for me. Like, some science curriculum to me seems more of like a Christian-based curriculum, right? So it does have echoes of things that you will find in the Bible, but that is different from building on the truths of what you see in the Bible. And that, I guess, is what I really feel like we have seen so far with Generations that they do a really good job of. Okay, one of the other things that I really, really, really like about this science is it gives time for observation and exploration. I am going to be 100% honest here, and this is a little bit of a scary thing to say online in front of everybody. So I'm going to be 100% honest here, and I might get some flack for this, but I'm going to say it anyways. I hate science experiments. Some people pick out this homeschool curriculum and these sciences, and they are buying the kit to go with the science and all the labs and the dissection, and they're going to do all these experiments. And here's, you got to buy this package for $150. It's got all these little vials of the little things that you're going to need to do all these experiments, and I don't like them. I don't like them. It is so daunting to me. If you don't know, we have 6 children in this house. My oldest is 14. My youngest is 14 months. Doing those types of science experiments is not fun for me. I would rather go to a YouTube video and watch, this type of reaction happen, and that's our science experiment. It is so hard to get them done. It is time consuming, and there's always a good chance that I'm going to mess it up, and then we don't see the reaction that we were supposed to see, and I don't like them. So one of the things I really appreciate about Generations is it's not like experiment day. It is like observation. It's easy things that we have at home. They give you a couple options. The first one you had 2 choices. You could do bleach or you could do chocolate. And those are 2 things that typically most houses have or can easily get. Kind of using things that you already have on hand that you can simply watch, and see how things happen. So I really appreciated that, because I don't want to have to buy an add-on kit of a bunch of science materials that we're going to end up throwing most of away because you only use like an itty bitty bit of something. And it's expensive, it's messy, and a lot of times it doesn't go the way it's supposed to. So I appreciate that the experiments, if you want to call them that, for the observations are more real life of what we have in the house. If you're like me and you prefer a science that gives you the opportunity to read and learn from text, refer you to videos online to watch examples of what you have just read, and then do some simple observations, this is a great way to go. I do want to tell you that it does cover God loves reproduction, and God sustains human life, God restores and reproduces life. And I just want to mention that because, especially like the 6th grade, middle school, sometimes you have younger kids who are a little more advanced in subjects. So I do want to just mention, in terms of reproduction, we're talking about plant reproduction. When we talk about animal reproduction, we're talking about mammals have live births. They feed their young milk. We have reptiles that come from eggs. That's kind of like the reproduction that it's talking about. So it's not delving into any like medical term specifics. So depending on the age of your child and where you're at, it's not going to divulge too much information into like human reproduction. Even though you do have this beautiful picture of life on the front of the book, it does not get into like the specifics necessarily of how this beautiful life is made. That's for a different subject. So how did this work for us? Did we like it? Did we not like it? So my son, who just turned 12 and he is in 6th grade, he is really enjoying this. The way that we are doing it is we're actually reading it together, because this is his first like in-depth science. It has a lot of knowledge. It is an actual science textbook. So it's going to cover a lot of large words, scientific words that he's not experienced before and he doesn't know. And not that I'm perfect, because I have a very strong Southern accent, as some of y'all can tell. I think it's important that we go through and that we read these words together, and that he hear the right way to say them, or as best that I can, and really understand all of these terms. One of the great things is we're able to talk about lots of topics as we go along through here, just as we have with all of our other learning. But it's been really good for he and I, because we didn't really have any subjects that he and I just sat down and do together anymore, because he is more independent in a lot of ways. So it's a great time for me to just kind of check in with him and him have my undivided attention for a few minutes. Now, having said that, I don't break this up over 3 days because he's not reading it independently. I read it all at one time. I read the whole chapter all at one time. And then instead of breaking up his questions over the following week, 3 days, he does them right afterwards. Some people would probably think that is too much. We do it that way because we homeschool all year round. And we typically do what you would consider like have a traditional homeschool day 4 days a week. Then for the observation activities, he will do those usually on Friday. He can do those independently typically. There is a section for him to record his observations. There are questions that go along with it. And he is able to do all of those on his own. Again, one of them dealt with chocolate and watching how it melts at different temperatures. One of them dealt with pouring bleach on some weeds and observing them over a number of days. So that is the schedule that works best for us. Now, I know the next question that is going to come after that, well, this is a pretty small book. There are only 10 chapters. How do you cover this in a whole year? How do you stretch this out for a whole year? I don't. I stretch this out for half a year. We kind of break up our year into 2 parts. We start our school year like July, whatever after the 4th. You know, maybe it's July 10th, maybe it's July 12th, maybe it's July 7th. But we start in July, and our school year, the first half of our school year kind of wraps up at Christmas. And then we start our second semester that will go from January all the way to the end of June. So these actually work out great to do science from January to July. Now, if you follow a more traditional schedule with 5 days a week, what is printed in this book will probably work beautifully for you. Now, the workbook questions, I do try to encourage him to do independently. It is very straightforward, vocabulary, short answer, comprehension type questions. And then you can see over here, it gives you your hands-on science. You can have them answer these in the book, depending again on your age and level of learning, that development that your kids are at. Maybe you want to have them answer these out loud. Maybe you don't want to use them at all. Maybe you just want to read the textbook. You can make it work for you however you like. But because we are in middle school and we are transitioning into that independent learning, I am expecting him to write down the answers to these questions. And one of the things that we are definitely working on is working towards that independence of him sitting down and answering all of the questions, and then me looking over them and us going back and talking over them, rather than just, oh, I don't know the answer to this, let me go ask mom. So we're definitely in that phase of learning to go back and look in the book and investigate and find what we're looking for and fostering that independence for that next level of learning. So that is how we are using God Made Life textbook and workbook from Generations Homeschool Curriculum. We're really happy with it so far. Be sure to stay tuned and see what we think when we get to the end of the course and give you our thoughts once we finished everything. Now, one last question before I go. In the comments below, I have God Made Animals, which is what I'm doing with my younger kids. And I also have Taking Europe for Jesus, which is a Bible-based history course. You tell me which one of those you would rather see. History for middle school or elementary science. I'll be happy to review whichever you like. So comment below and let me know which of those subjects you are most interested in seeing a review of. And please like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any more of our review videos. See you real soon.